Hello again, my name is Ben. Here I am today with a Halo Mega Construx set comparison. Here I have with me today is the Halo Mega Construx Banshee Breakout and the Halo Mega Construx Arbiter's Quest. So what I'm going to be doing here today is comparing these two sets, different aspects of them, the builds, the figures, the price, all that sort of fun stuff, and debating between the two which one would be the better purchase for myself or for you if you're interested in what I have to say. Now, starting off with some of the little superfluous aspects, I'd say. You can see the boxes here for the Banshee Breakout. Pretty basic design here, showing off the information, pretty basic background, sort of this orange backdrop with clouds and Rocky Mountains, and the two figures in conflict. Back there just showing off all details. Pretty basic stuff going on there, and more of the same going on for the Arbiter's Quest. Though you can see this one's specifically taken from the mission Aribiter on that like Forerunner station in that mission in Halo 2. You can see the Banshee there. Pretty nice box art. You can see all the figures on the side there. Halo Universe branding. I think this set in particular was one of the last ones to use the Halo Mega Construx branding on it before they switched over to Mega. So something to note there. Preference between the two, not anything too strong. Pretty basic box art for both of them, but I think I'd personally prefer the Arbiter's Quest one for being actually tied into something specific from the games. But that's sort of a minor thing, not really anything deal breaker or major. Now the next aspect of the two sets that you have to compare, I will compare, will be the figures. You get two in the Banshee Breakout. Here you can see the Spartan Recon. A very nicely detailed figure, pretty simple. That sort of metallic green, all there. My camera would love to focus on it, but yeah, nice figure. Not much to complain about, though. I will say on mine recently, the shoulder piece here has broken off, making it fairly loose, which is unfortunate. I digress. It is what it is. The next figure is the Elite Ultra. We've gotten several Elite Ultras for the Halo Infinite Wave in different colors. However, this one in particular is probably the most accurate one we've gotten. Gets very nice sculpted detailing all around, and is probably the most accurate looking one to probably look in Halo Infinite. Has the focus rifle, which is in Halo Infinite, kind of a weird choice. But overall, pretty nice figure, and definitely a really nice one to have if you want to like army build. Which, comparing to the Arbiter's Quest figures, let's see. Let's move everything out of the way here. I need my camera to focus to the best of its abilities. Let's see a very nice Arbiter figure here with a lot of detailing, and just looking very nice. I think one of the better figures I own from these recent Halo waves. The detailing they were able to get on him is very impressive, and I'm rather impressed with how he turned out. If my camera would love to focus on him, there you go. Very nice detailed figure all around. And the rest of the figures in this set are also really nice. You get a Heretic Elite, you can see here. Nice molded detail all around. Nice gold color. A nice head design, and overall, very nice looking figure. Now, obviously, most of the molds from him are just taken from the Heretic Leader, Sessa Refami, however it is said, in this nice red color, which I also do quite like. Though we haven't gotten him in quite a few sets, but this is one that makes sense for his inclusion. Now, comparing the minifigures from all of these sets here, you'll see that it's pretty clear that one of these definitely has the advantage of more detailed figures, and more figures in general, while the other one has the ease of easily amassable and easy to army build figures. Now, I'd say the advantage for figures probably would go to the Banshee Breakout for easier to buy multiples of the set, because while the figures for the Arbiter's Quest are very nice and highly detailed, you're going to end up with a lot of repeats of figures that you don't really need. As good as the Arbiter and the Sesse Refami is, you don't need multiple of them. And the only figure that really is army buildable is the Heretic Elite, and you don't really need these other two. So while you wouldn't want a whole army of Spartan Recons, it isn't terrible to have several Elite Ultras, and especially when considering these sets, the main thing you're trying to buy from them are the Banshees. So personally, for me, if I had to say the better figures, especially when buying multiples of these sets, I'd have to say go to the Banshee Breakout. But moving on to the builds, obviously the Banshees themselves. Let's get all the figures out of the way. One minor thing to note about the Banshee, or the Arbiter's Quest Banshee, is that it contains the feature of swapping around the pieces from this barrier and some extra gold pieces to make it into a Heretic Banshee, seen in that level. It is a good gimmick, a good idea, similar to what they did with the Red Team Warthog Charge. Unfortunately, I think that it's not super accurate to how it looks in Halo 2, and I feel that with the increase in price, it isn't really justified with just a few little add-ons and one extra figure, because I didn't mention this one is $20, this one is $30. Personally, I feel like the increase in price isn't super justified, but that may just be me. But with all that being said, barrier build, not much of an addition to these sets. This one doesn't really contain anything else. But the builds themselves obviously have different design language and influence. This one's a banished Banshee, where you can see the color scheme, the red and silver, and having a more bladed, angular, aggressive design to it, which looks fairly nice, and I think they got the look across pretty well. Of course, contrasting that, the Covenant Banshee with more sleeker, smoother designs, and a nice purple. Depending on your preference, either of these could be preferred. I think both of these builds do good jobs at capturing the in-game designs and look really well, or look really good. Personally, I think I prefer the Halo 2 Banshee, bring a nice, highly detailed build, looking very nice. And I just really enjoy the purple here, and I really love the design for the cockpit here. The sort of this metallic purple on the top of it looks just really nice, and some of the finer detailing, which you can see here, sort of texturing all along it, looks really nice. And this one doesn't really have nearly as much going on. Nice little armor piece at the front, but I think it pales in comparison to the detailing on the Arbiter's Quest Banshee. But I'll just give you a good wrap around though. See some different design language and influences between them. See the longer wings on this one, which I think look a little better, because this one looks a little stubby, I will admit. Just give it more of a wrap around. You see the back here. Both of these do have a problem being fairly gappy. This one definitely does have the advantage. You'll see in the sides here that this one better covers out the gaps, but you can see some pretty significant gaps here. But the trade-off here, obviously, is you'll see quite a bit here, and then not really much there. The guns you'll see here, both of them have the feature of pushing fire, but these ones are better hidden within the Banshee, which are probably preferred for display purposes, but I will admit it doesn't really bother me too much here either. You get a nice surplus here of extras if you need them, and then I don't feel like I need to demonstrate the feature, but you push down on either of them, which you see here, and they fire. And how fortuitous, because one thing to note is that the base for this one uses two of these sort of base pieces, which gives it nice stability. This one, however, chooses only to use one, which isn't a huge problem, but on occasion you may find that it tips over a tad easier. But it is not a major problem, I'd say. But overall, that is probably all I have to say for these two. Both of these are very excellent builds, very good sets, highly detailed figures, good builds, and overall very pleasant experience to have both of them, and I'm glad I do have both of them. However, when it comes between the two and which one I prefer to buy and amass an army of, I would say the build for the Arbiter's Quest Banshee is superior, but simply because of the fact of the figures, and harder to just, you'll end up with an excess of figures that you don't really need. These two figures you will not need several of when you're buying the set. And the extra figure and this little side build and gimmick of swapping the figures doesn't really justify the increase in $10. And by contrast, you'll see pretty simplistic figures in the Banshee Breakout. You'll see very nice Elite Ultra and Spartan Recon. not super desirable figures to have an excess of, but given the trade-off of $20 to $30 in a pretty still decent Banshee build, I would have to say that the Banshee Breakout is the preferred purchase for me personally. You may disagree, that is fine, to each their own. But I would have to say, if I was on an aisle and these two were here and I had to choose between the two, I would probably choose the Banshee Breakout. With all that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. You'll stay tuned until next time for whatever else I have to upload. Have a great day, and goodbye.